All right, welcome to the UFC 330 breakdown. I'm joined by KJ as always, and let's before we get into UFC 330, let's do a quick Dana White Contender Series recap from last night. What'd you think of the five fights from last night overall?
Well, I'm definitely glad that you were in charge of putting out our pick for the night because they didn't start off great. I kind of predicted that all the fights would have like fantastic finishes. Obviously, your two guys both within the first minute. That was pretty sick and got some well-deserved contracts. Never thought that we'd have such an exciting fighter from Indonesia, but absolute beast. I think it was a good card overall. I love seeing my Tuesdays stacked with something to watch. So it was good. Like I said, a couple guys definitely stuck out, but overall, pretty good start to the this season.
Yeah, and I did a little research, and there were two guys on this card that really stuck out more than any of the rest, and they were giant favorites. So Vegas knew exactly who those guys were. And Bilal Hassan and Anthony Went, and those guys are both exciting prospects. They have one fight on Dana White's Contender Series, and I'd say they're already more exciting than anyone on PFL's current roster. That's the difference between the UFC and other organizations. Just out of nowhere, I gotta watch both these guys next fight. They both come out. I think Hassan finished his guy in 45 seconds, and I think Wint was even faster than that. I don't have the time in front of me on him, but two exciting prospects that I'm excited to see when they get in there against some UFC level competition.
Definitely. I mean, I couldn't agree more. We'll see what happens, but finishing in that first minute, obviously very exciting. It's hard to judge someone based off that, but I have high hopes. They are exciting.
Yeah, all right. Let's move on though to the first fight of the night. It is Mektabek Orbai taking on Jeremiah Wells. Orbai is minus 670. Wells is plus 430. This is a pretty entertaining matchup to start off. What do you got on this one?
This is a hard one to go on, right? I mean, Orabai's looked really good. He's a lot younger than Wells. I think it makes sense to go on his side. I I like him to get a finish. I'm not touching that in my bets. I'm gonna throw Orabai into a couple different parlays because I really do think he's gonna win this fight. I've seen him anywhere up to minus 1,000. Wells isn't terrible, but Orabai's really been turning it on. He's looked good lately. Like I said, he's got youth on his side as well. He's gonna get the win here, but I'm gonna stay away from this one as a whole. But I'll be throwing it in some parlays later on.
Yeah, you're right. I just looked. It is all the way up to minus 950 right now. So that line has climbed. These graphics are a day old. So shows how quickly a UFC gambling graphic can be out of date because this one is clearly out of date. I'm going Orbai inside the distance. I haven't even seen the line on that yet. The props are not released. I just think Wells is a little old. Orbai is a good prospect, and he's just a force coming forward. So I think he'll get it done. Anything reasonable, I'll probably be on it on my official picks, but with the line not out yet, I can't give the official number yet.
I like that. I mean, I agree. And that actually is another reason I didn't have him inside the distance. I can't find a line on it yet either, but most likely he'll get it done.
Moving to fight number two of the night. It is Neil Magny taking on Ramiz Brahmaj. This is pretty much a pick 'em. Magny's plus 100. Ramiz is minus 125 right now. I really struggled to pick this one. I might lean on you for my gambling pick on this. I have, I guess, a slight lean with Neil Magny, but this is one where I went back and forth and really don't have a strong opinion. I don't know if I will give this as an official pick, so I'm hoping you have something on this.
You know what? You hinted at it. You know what? I'm with you. Um, I don't have anything against Brahimaj. I think he's decent. And usually I go with youth in a fight like this, right? I'll go with the younger fighter. I'll talk about being 39, but he's been so active for so long, and Magny really is pretty good everywhere. And he didn't have a terrible 2025, right? So how am I gonna dismiss him for his age, especially when I'm about to be the same age as him? I like Neil Magny here. I think at plus 100, it's a good take. I'm only going to put one unit on it, but Magny plus 100, I certainly think he can get it done.
Okay, well, I will follow through and be on Magny then. When you and I align, we've been doing pretty well in the past 4 or 5 weeks, so I'll stick with that. He's one of those guys, kind of like Bobby Green, where even though he is up there in age, I kind of do keep him in his own category because how active he is and just how good he's looked recently.
Yeah, totally with you. Like I said, he's won, I think, two out of his last three. He looks good until he shows me he can't hack it anymore. I'm going to ride that train unless I see a matchup I really don't like.
Match number 3 of the night is Lucas Fernando debuting as a big favorite, minus 310, taking on Rafael Tobias, who is plus 230. I will let you lead us off on this one. What do you have on this?
So this is a tricky one, right? I'm pretty sure this is both of their first fights in the UFC. Actually, Tobias might have fought before, but Fernando's first fight in the UFC. Both pretty young, both Brazilian dudes. I'll be honest, just based off of not knowing a bunch about Fernando, I'd probably lean Tobias. I'm not going to do that though with my official pick on this one. I like this one under 2.5 rounds, and I kind of like it a lot. Both guys can finish. Under 2.5 rounds, you're looking at minus 160. I get it. Everyone wants to see those plus 500 odds and whatnot, but sometimes you got to pay to play. And we did it last week. We're going to do it again this week. I'm going to throw 2 units on it. Minus 160 for under 2.5 rounds. I like it. Lock it in.
Okay, that is half the bets I was going to give on this. I do like the under 2.5 on this. I think this was one where one guy will find a finish. And my spiciest bet of the night is I think it might be Rafael Tobias in round one. And I was looking, that is almost 20 to 1 right now. It's plus 1900
Wow.
at 205. And the way he swings against a guy debuting, I just can't really pass that up. Maybe the Urbina fight is still in my mind because I was on the wrong side of a heavy favorite debuting there on that Belgrade card, and I saw my fighter get his lights shut off in the first round, and that was a 10-unit swing for me, so that was pretty painful. But I really do think this is not crazy for Tobias to find a first-round knockout. He has multiple first-round finishes in his career, so at plus 1900 with the 205 weight division, I'm going to take a stab and see if I can get lucky.
20 to 1 is crazy. I mean, of course you'll get roasted and everyone will tell you, what the hell, why didn't that happen? But I think it certainly could. I like it.
Yeah, giving 21 picks is not the brightest thing to do, but I'm not the brightest, so I'm not too worried about it. The next fight of the night is a fight at 185 between Trayshawn Gore, who's the slight favorite at minus 155, taking on Vicente Luque, who is plus 120. I ended up going on Vicente Luque on this one, which I just noticed is misspelled on the graphic, but I just think that these guys are pretty close everywhere. Gore's gas tank is not my favorite. Gore in general is not my favorite fighter. I'm not very confident in this pick. I don't even know if I'll give it as an official pick, but that's just the way I'm leaning right now. What do you got in this one?
Have some more confidence, bud. I like where you're at. I like Vicente Luque a lot in this one, to be honest. I've seen him most recently at only plus 100, so it seems like the odds are starting to trickle in his direction, and I think rightfully so. Luque's fought everyone. And you know what? This is one of those ones, just off the top of my head, I was going to say age is a factor here. I get it. It's really not. Luque's only like 33. It just seems like he's been in the octagon forever. But like I said, he's fought everyone. Gore's not bad. He's a tough guy. He's durable. I think Luque will likely get a finish here. I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to play it a little bit safer. But Luque plus 100 or plus 120, wherever you lock it in at, that's good for a unit in my book. I think he's, a much more established fighter, and I can't go the other way. Gore hasn't done anything that tells me that he's definitely going to go out there and beat up Luque. Could he go out there and outstrike him and kind of put it on him? Yeah, he could. He's a favorite for a reason, But give me Luque.
Okay, yeah, the one stat I heard that really swayed me away from being able to pull the trigger on Gore is he doesn't even have a single knockdown in his UFC career. So he's just not the most dangerous striker. I think that might be the path to beat Vicente. So that's why I'm on him. But again, I'm not super confident. These type of fights, I swear I'm always on the wrong side. I'll be on something just because I can't resist on a numbered card. But this next fight is one where I have a much stronger lean. It is Dante Johnson, who is minus 230, taking on Eric Meconico. Meconico is plus 175 right now. Those odds might be moving a little bit as well. But I'm not a big Meconico guy. I think Dante Johnson has not looked the best in his few UFC fights so far, but he's still young. And I kind of want to buy on him. So I'm going Dante Johnson inside the distance. I think it's about minus 115 right now. Yeah, minus 115. I think he'll be able to get it done. And if he doesn't, then his career path is on a much different trajectory than he wants it to be.
I'm totally with you on this one. I'm not a big Meconico guy either. I mean, he's shown to be somewhat durable, but just looks real sloppy. Dante Johnson needs this win. This is another one where I've seen Dante Johnson jump up to like minus 285, and I think rightfully so. Because of Meconico's ability to kind of just hang around in fights, I think you're probably right with taking Johnson inside the distance here, but I just have Johnson again as a parlay piece with the next fight, actually. But I like Dante Johnson as well in this one.
The next fight of the night is Chidi Njokuani taking on Joel Alvarez. Alvarez is coming in on short notice, but it's still a pretty large favorite at minus 280 right now. Which way are you leaning on this one, KJ?
So I've seen Joel Alvarez actually rise to about minus 310 today. I think he will likely get it done. He's coming off a tough loss. I think the odds would actually be even more so in his direction had he not be coming off a tough fight. Um, Jokiani is a guy who has an incredible first round almost every fight. That does scare me. So what I'm going to do with this fight is I'm going to take the Alvarez and Jokiani fight under 2.5 rounds, which is only minus 190, which I think is great all by itself. But I'm going to parlay that with Dante Johnson, which I've seen even at minus 300. So again, even if the odds are a little bit higher, if you got them lower or you can get them lower, great. This is going to be even a better parlay for you. But 2 units I like on Alvarez and Jokiani under 2.5, parlayed with Dante Johnson. That's going to get you even money at plus 100. 2 units all day.
Okay, I like that. I ended up just being on Joel Alvarez inside the distance, minus 130. I was flirting with him round one, plus 220, but I didn't have the balls. I think you kind of nailed it. Chidi does have a good round one a lot, but I do think that Alvarez will be able to find a finish at some point. And I'm thinking about doing multiple units on that. I have not officially decided on my units yet. Just getting my official picks out there yet. But the unit size will be on our official picks, which will be linked at the end of this video. And to open up the main card, I believe we got Esteban Ribovics, who is a big favorite, minus 520, taking on Edson Barbosa, plus 350. This is another one. I made the graphics early, trying to get on top of things, and of course, all these lines have moved. Barbosa is all the way up to plus 450 right now, so people are really believing in Ribovics. I think that's kind of crazy. I'm not a huge fan of him. I think he gets tagged, but he's fighting a guy who is almost 40 in Barbosa. So I'm interested to see which way you lean on this one.
Barboza is 40.
Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, we're not talking about the ghost of Barboza's past here, right? I mean, Father Time is just a real thing. And I'm not a huge Esteban Ribovics guy either, but Barbosa's just getting older, dude. We've shown that his chin's not just what it used to be. His electricity and his kicks aren't what they used to be. He's just slowing down. This is kind of a get right fight for Ribovics, who I don't love, but he's just younger by more than a decade. But to protect ourselves, just in case that Edson decides to have some crazy fight to end his career, um, this is another 2 unit pick for me. Now, this is one you got to pay to play, right? They're not sexy lines, but they're going to hit. So minus 240 on under 2.5 rounds is a guarantee. It's 2 units. I almost made it three. So under 2.5 rounds in this fight, lock it in. I know it's not a great line, minus 240, but it's free money. Take it.
Okay, you heard it there. Lock it in. The only pick I was flirting with in this one was Barbosa money line. Just take a stab on him. I couldn't get myself to do it, so I think I'll probably just follow you and be on that under since you're so confident. Because my confidence in the 40-year-old Barbosa is just not there. And at the same time, Ribovitz at that big of a number is I'm not there either on him. So I guess I could look at him inside the distance, but I'm just gonna jump on that under and follow you. This next fight of the night is unfortunately not correct. It got canceled. I just saw that right before the recording. Ochoa had to pull out. Charles Johnson does have a replacement opponent. Eduardo Chaplin. I do not know anything about him. It looks like he's making his UFC debut. The odds on this fight are not too crazy, I don't think. Johnson was a big underdog coming in against Ochoa, as you can see on the graphic, but I think currently Johnson is minus 145, so a slight favorite. Do you have anything on the Johnson fight?
You know what? The odds are scaring me on this one. I'm not super confident. This is just going to be a half unit play for me, just to have something out there. I like Charles Johnson. I mean, he just fought a guy that I think it shot right up to like top five, maybe top three in my book. But Charles Johnson's good. He's a gamer. I mean, he's beat Van. He's beat like a lot of the who's who's. He's lost a lot too. But you know what? The guy fights 4 or 5 times a year. His activity I do love. When this fight originally changed, I saw Johnson at minus 310. It's shot all the way down to minus 145. Usually that scares me to go in the other direction, and it has kind of hesitated me a little bit to pull the trigger fully on Johnson. But I'm going Charles Johnson money line in this one. I don't know anything really about Eduardo or whatever whatever his name is. He might be great. We really have no idea. So I'm just gonna throw a half unit on Johnson. I think he could really go up against anyone and potentially win. So I'll take it.
Yeah, and there's no props out on this with it being a late switch, but I was on Johnson his last fight against Amabayev, and it was the wrong side. He just couldn't deal with the wrestling. I think he ended up he got finished with like a twister or something, didn't he, or something crazy?
Yeah, that was one that I had. The guy was fighting to win by decision, and he got submitted with a minute left.
Yeah, so I'm a Charles Johnson guy. You go from, like you said, a top five guy in the division to a guy making his UFC debut at those odds. I'm gonna try to get a bet in here pretty quickly because I think that's very reasonable. He's a pretty good. I guess almost a gatekeeper at this point of his career, but against a guy making his debut, even if he is a really good fighter, this is probably a big jump up in competition. So I'll be on that same side as you at Charles Johnson minus 145.
I like it.
The next fight of the night is the fight I think has fireworks written all over it. It's Jalen Turner, who's a favorite at minus 175, taking on Kai Fernandez, who's plus 135. This is one of my favorite bets of the night. I am a big Jalen Turner fan, so I'm on him inside the distance. It's minus 110 right now. I'm also on Jalen Turner. Round one, it's plus 180. I think he comes out. He's going to really hit the prime of his career. He's big. Fernandez is hittable and doesn't really impress me that much. He has good leg kicks. I forget he finished someone with leg kicks in one of his previous fights. But overall, I just think Turner will be too big and too much for him. What do you got on this one?
You know what? It's scary sometimes when we're just right in line. I like the tarantula here. Jalen Turner in his last fight, he really seemed like he reignited his career, right? Like happy to be back. His head seems like he's in the right space. He's always had the tools. I mean, his length is crazy. He's just a really difficult matchup for everyone here. So I love Jalen Turner in this one. I'm throwing a unit there. And then it's not exactly what you have. You know, your odds are better than mine. But under a round and a half in this fight, just in case, you know, something crazy does happen. We're kind of protecting ourselves there, but I think we hit on both. So I like Turner minus 160 is where I had him. I see minus 175 there. Odds, crazy enough, seem like they're going in the other direction, but I still like Turner a lot. And under 1.5 is minus 145. I'm throwing a unit there too. I think this is a fast one as well, and I do think Turner's going to get it done. Yeah, I like Turner, and I like the fight under a round and a half.
Okay, that probably makes sense to do the round and a half. That the difference between that and plus 180 is not too much, but I'll probably stick on Turner. Stay loyal to my guy. Try to get a little extra juice out of it, just because this is probably the bet of the night I like the most. I can't decide if I'm going to do multiple units on this or have this as kind of a key in a bunch of parlays. I'll do one of the two on my official picks, which will again be at the end of this. So I will be pretty dependent on Jalen Turner, I think, for how my betting night goes. This takes us to the fight before the co-main. It's Mansur Abdul Malik taking on Dustin Stoltzfus.
Sure.
Malik is a pretty big favorite. I love the way Stoltzfus fights. I love his last name, but I think this is a fight he's getting set up to get finished. That's what the odds say. Is that what you're feeling on this one too, KJ?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Malik jump up to about minus 610. I think rightfully so. I like Stoltzfus, right? I do. I just think this is not a good matchup for him. But this is another one where I see it being a finish because I like the way Stoltzfus fights. He kind of goes hard on a shield when he's, you know, if he's going to win or if he's going to lose. So I appreciate that. So I'm going to go under 2.5 rounds in this, which is minus 160. We're throwing a unit there. And then just to kind of go back a few, I'm going with Abdul Malik, Rebovix, and then the first fight of the night, going all the way back to Oyla Bay. If you parlay all those, they're big money lines. It's going to get you to minus 200. Again, not an ideal line, but I look at it like free money. I don't see any of those three losing. Malik's going to get it done here, most likely. But in case Stoltzfus has, a great night, we're still protected with that under 2.5 rounds. But I definitely don't see this one going the distance.
I do not either. I am on that same under 2.5 rounds. I am also on Abdul Malik inside the distance. That is currently minus 145. I just think he gets it done. He's pretty heavy-handed. I think he'll be a better wrestler. And I don't know. I feel like at some point, these fights like this have kind of been too easy to pick, and the big favorites have been coming through and getting the finish. So I'm a little worried one of these cards is not going to go like this, but I do like Abdul Malik. I was surprised he lost his last fight. I remember watching that. I think I lost a bet on that, if I'm remembering correctly. But I think he rebounds, and sometimes those losses for guys can be a good thing early in their career.
I agree.
The co-main event of the night, we got Mackenzie Dern taking on Jillian Robertson. It's almost shocking to me that Mackenzie Dern is the champion at this point of her career, but she is, and she is the favorite defending the belt. So what do you got in this one?
This is a tricky one, right? Jillian Robertson is really kind of fun. I don't typically say that about women's fights. I'll be honest with you. Call me a massager, whatever you want. But I don't usually find them all that fun. But she is. She's a gamer. She puts it to them. But what scares me about this is her path to victory is what Mackenzie Dern is literally the best in the world at, which is grappling. So I don't love Mackenzie Dern, but her striking has come a long way. She's still, I don't know, only in like her mid 30s. The age gap here is only like a couple of years because the grappling leans in Dern's way, cancels each other out at best for Robertson. I have to go Dern here. I'm not going to go by finish. I don't typically do that in women's fights unless I really love it. It's only a unit for me. I see Dern all the way down to minus 220, which is going in Robertson's direction. Would I be shocked? No. But Dern minus 220, given that she has, I think, a stylistic matchup that just favors her a lot, I'm going to go Dern here. I think she keeps the belt.
I think that's probably the smart pick. I was leaning that way. I hated it just because I don't think she's very, honestly, that good. She's lost 3 of her last 7 fights. Obviously, she's fighting, top level competition, but Amanda Lemos, we just saw lose last week. That's a loss a couple years ago. So I just don't think she's that good. I don't think Jillian Robertson's that good either. But the bet I ended up coming to was Jillian Robertson inside the distance plus 650. I hate it. I'm doing either a quarter unit or a half a unit on it. I expect to not enjoy watching this fight as she gets dominated grappling and has no chance of actually getting a finish. But I don't see her getting a decision because, like you said, her path is kind of what Dern's best at. So I think she's almost going to have to just kind of have a lucky strike or find a lucky submission or find, I don't know, it's just something to get the finish. And I don't think Dern is really justified to be that big of a favorite against anyone on as long as a winning streak as Robertson is. So I'm gonna take a shot. Fuck it. You know what? I like it so much. I'm gonna stick a half unit, not even a quarter. I'm gonna go up to a full half unit on this. Jillian Robertson inside the distance plus 650. To the main event of the night, we got Islam Makhachev taking on Ian Machado Gary. This is a very interesting stylistic matchup. It's the grappler versus the striker. I have a feeling I know which way you are leaning in this one, but I want to hear it from your mouth. So you take it from here, KJ.
I don't think you know where I'm going. I don't think so. So, Islam, I think rightfully so, is the best active pound for pound fighter that we have in the UFC. This is not at 155. This is not at 155 fighting 145 fighters like Volk. Machado Gary may be the biggest cuck in the UFC, but he's going to win on Saturday night because he's bigger, because he has the reach, and because I just think he has the tools to kind of shock everyone in this one. So I know I've ridden the favorites this whole card, but I like and knew to end your night on Saturday. I saw Gary at plus 270 when I took him. I'm going Gary. Throw a unit at it. I think we find a new champ at 170 and Makhachev goes back down to 55.
Wow, you were right. I did not see you going that way. That is very surprising to me. I am firmly on the other side. I love Islam here. He's a big favorite, so it's definitely tough to bet him at that big of a number, especially because I do think that Gary is somewhat of a live dog. We've seen in the UFC recently, especially in these main events, that the underdogs have a chance. We saw it with Gaethje. We saw it with Khamzat getting upset. So it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world. But when I was looking at the betting angle for this, and I saw that Islam inside the distance was plus 175, all I could see in my head was Islam fully mounted on Ian Gary, just dropping elbows until Herb Dean comes in about 6 elbows too late and stops the fight. So that's how I see it ending. I think Islam finds the finish. I think I'm going to have multiple units on Islam inside the distance. I'm rooting for Islam. I'm not a Gary fan. So I do think at some point Islam will find his maker and someone will send him. And he will not have the retirement that Khabib have, and he will lose 1 or 2 at the end of his career. But I just do not think it's going to be Aaron Machado Gary.
Okay, that's fair. If it goes to the ground, you can't rule Machado out. He does have a Brazilian last name. It might be his wife's, but it's still Brazilian.
That is that is true. My thing is though, we saw what Islam could do to a guy like Charles. So I just think that the sub is very much alive. He could take his back. He could mount him. I also think he could knock him out on his feet. Gary is going to just, I think, try to point fight him and throw a jab here or there. I think eventually Islam is just not going to be very scared of him. He could catch him and knock him out as well.
He could. He definitely could. I mean, there's a reason why he's such a big favorite. But again, I think Vegas is missing a little something here. We're talking about a true 170 guy, maybe big for 170. So eventually, Makachev's going to get caught in this division. And I just think it's going to be Saturday.
All right, well, our full cards are attached at the end. Check them out. We've been hot. Thanks for watching.